Hello, I'm Hamza Khayoun, and this is the Sideline, where we discuss the latest hot topics of the FIFA World Cup 2022. Today, we are analysing the dynamics at work in Group B. Rivals on the political stage are now placed head-to-head in the sporting arena, with the Islamic Republic of Iran pitted against teams like England and the United States of America. As always, we'll be hearing from our experts on the beautiful game, but first, we have a special report on the Clash of the Titans, which is Group B.
Group B in the World Cup will witness the clash of longtime rivals on both the sporting and international stages. The teams in this group are the United States, England, Wales, and the Islamic Republic of Iran. The mere appearance of Iran in the World Cup is a momentous victory following the unjust and discriminatory campaign to deprive the nation and its team of the right to compete. Not only that, but the Islamic Republic of Iran has been able to withstand economic war and sanctions, which have harmed even the football sector of the country. The main protagonist of the war against Iran, the United States, has shown considerable weakness in the qualifying stages of this competition by failing to score in games away from home. The US has so far qualified for 10 World Cups in total, but failed to qualify for Russia 2018. While the coach of the US team, Greg Berhalter, is placing his hopes in Christian Pulisic and Anthony Robinson, it's still questionable whether they can perform in the Middle Eastern heat of Qatar, despite the combined worth of the national team standing at $310 million. The US has not made it to the Final Four of the World Cup since 1930. Will this time be different? It must be remembered that Iran defeated the United States national team in the 1998 World Cup. Perhaps 2022 will see a repeat of this poetic justice. Iran's coach Carlos Queiroz, the Lion of Portugal, has proven his mettle managing the team between 2011 and 2019. Many Iranians are looking to stars like Sardar Azmoun, who scored 41 goals in 65 matches since 2014. Another star is Mehdi Taremi, who has hammered home 27 goals in 60 games for the national side. They're also looking to rising stars like Saeed Ezzatullahi to fulfill their dreams and make them proud. England has a history of harassing the Iranian national aspiration and is active in the current war against the country. So the meeting between the teams will also be a charged affair. England has played in 15 World Cups since 1950, so it's in a stronger position in terms of experience. But how will the players perform in Qatar? Will this time see a humiliating group stage exit for England like Brazil 2014? The England team is pinning their hopes on star striker Harry Kane, who's netted 51 goals in 75 matches. Will he be able to deliver the goods? Will Group B act as a site of resistance and see the colonized fight back?
We are joined in the studio by our resident football analyst, Mo Haidar. Mo was a key figure in the development of Arsenal Fan TV, where he was eventually dismissed for his public support for the Palestinian cause. Now he runs his own YouTube channel, where he provides his cutting-edge analysis and incisive commentary on the latest Arsenal games. Mo is joined today in the studio by Albert Umar. Albert is also a football analyst who has spent much of his life following his team, Arsenal. He has a well-established YouTube channel, Albert J TV, where he offers his musings on the latest games with signature wit and humour. Thank you for joining me, gentlemen. So to start with, Mo, do you think this background of economic war will play out on the pitch?
It's not a question you get asked every day when it comes to football, but actually it's a unique circumstance, and I think that it could potentially. We're used to footballers just being very professional and making sure that off-field matters don't affect them once that first whistle blows. But in this occasion, I feel like for the Iranian footballers, what they need to do is channel this and use it to their advantage to find extra motivation. But I think in terms of us seeing that as viewers, we may only see that if there's a goal scored in the game by Iran, for example, where I think some of that emotion will spill over, much like we saw in the 1998 victory against America. And in celebrations, if they do win a game as well, I think we might see it then. But certainly very emotionally charged, and I think it will mean more to the Iranians than it will the English or the American players.
Albert, do you think we'll see Harry Kane shine in this group?
Potentially we will do. Leading goal scorer last World Cup, plays in a more withdrawn role, but as well as being the main man at top. But that's going to depend on what Mr. Southgate decides to do in terms of tactics and making England a bit more offensive rather than defensive. So it's very important that the likes of players that surround Harry Kane, the likes of Foden and Bukayo Saka and Jude Bellingham, go beyond Harry Kane and given an option to either play deep or be in that central area. So that'll be the contributing factor for Harry Kane to be successful at the tournament.
And do you think any other England players are going to shine in this particular tournament?
Well, being very Arsenal biased, Bukayo Saka, but he has to be played in the right position, which hasn't been the case for England. Saka played very well in the Nations League game against Germany, came on as a substitute for 20 minutes to go. Very influential, play him on that right of a free, and Harry Kane will benefit from that.
Mo, do you think the Iranians have been underestimated historically, given the sanctions that were put against them throughout the years? Does them simply qualifying already have a sense of achievement to it?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Hamza. I think just the fact that they've qualified is an achievement in light of what they're facing. But the Iranian players won't want to be using that as an excuse. Now that they have qualified, they're going to want to make their mark on the tournament. And let's not forget, look, this is their 6th World Cup appearance for Iran. So they have done this before. And in the last World Cup in 2018, they came agonisingly close to getting out of the group stage in a game against Portugal, in which Ricardo Quaresma scored one of the goals of the tournament with his outside of his right foot from outside of the box. And Iran got that injury time penalty, and also Mehdi Taremi had the chance to win the game in the final seconds of that game. He failed to score. Millions of Iranian hearts broken. He'll be very motivated to put it right this time. But the challenge that Iran will have will be scoring goals. They don't score many, they're quite defensive, and Carlos Queiroz is going to have to really make sure that they can navigate the group, because there's not a lot of margin for error in the Iranian style of play.
And Albert, what's your estimation of the US team?
Great question. USA are going through a bit of a transition. They didn't qualify for the last World Cup. They beat Mexico in the Gold Cup final in 2021, but their qualifying campaign was a little bit sketchy. The youngest squad in the World Cup, average age of 24, very good young players in terms of Brendan Aronson and Tyler Adams. You've got experience with Chris Pulisic and also Matt Turner in goal. So it'd be interesting to see how they progress, because they've got the tournament in 4 years' time, so this is key.
Right. And Mo, which Iranian players do you think will shine in Qatar this month?
Well, look, I mentioned Mehdi Taremi earlier, who's going to be very motivated to have a good World Cup. And he's had a really good season for his club side, Porto. So I think all eyes are on him, given that he's carrying good form into the tournament. The other leading light of Iranian football, Sardar Azmoun, unfortunately, he has suffered a calf tear. So he hasn't played since October, yet he's still been selected for the Iranian squad. That in itself tells you how important he is to this side, but it actually increases the pressure on Mehdi Taremi to have a good tournament, because for Azmoun, perhaps the expectations are a little bit lower, even though he's the standout player in light of the injury that he's suffered this season.
And Albert, Wales have the prolific Gareth Bale. Do you think that's likely to help them in this particular group?
Absolutely. He's come with a lot of injury issues over the years, but he's still Wales' talisman. He's world-class without the injuries. And when he puts on a Wales shirt, he's one of those players that just transform. Obviously, you can add Aaron Ramsey to that, and Wales can play in 2 different styles to accommodate Gareth Bale. They've got the tall man up front in Kiefer Moore, or they can get runners around him in terms of Daniel James and Harry Wilson. So he's going to be very influential for Wales in this tournament. First World Cup for Wales since 1958, so they're not coming here just to make up the numbers.
Right. And Mo, which team do you think will be the biggest underachievers in this tournament?
You're giving me the nasty question. I have a sense that when you look at the groups, Portugal are in a group with Uruguay and Ghana, and I think they could pull up a surprise. South Korea complete the group, but I feel with the footage, the images that we've seen coming out of the Portugal camp, it's not quite peaceful at the moment in light of Ronaldo's interview that has just come before the World Cup. So I think Portugal could be an underachiever.
And Albert, which team do you think is likely to be the biggest overachiever?
Well, there's 2 names that come to my head. The first one was Mo's mentioned, Uruguay. A very good team. But I'm actually going to put my neck on the line for Switzerland to cause an upset, because they seem to qualify out of the group stages most of the time.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you for joining us on the Sideline today. Please stay tuned on all platforms. We'll be back throughout the tournament with more debate and analysis. Until then, goodbye for now.